In today's rapidly changing world, where external appearances are often prioritized over inner purity, the hijab stands as a symbol of faith, dignity, and spiritual strength. It is not merely a piece of cloth. It is a declaration of a woman's submission to the will of Almighty God, a reflection of her faith rooted in the fear of disobedience to her Creator. The hijab protects not only the body but also the soul. It shields a woman from the eyes that seek to objectify her and reminds her that her physical beauty does not define her worth, but by her character, wisdom, and devotion. In a world obsessed with exposure, the hijab teaches the art of concealment, not as suppression, but as a form of liberation from societal expectations. It allows a woman to live with honor, where her voice, intellect, and virtue become her true adornments. Many see the hijab through the narrow lens of culture or tradition, yet its essence lies in faith and the fear of God. It is an act of obedience to divine command, a visible sign of modesty that reflects the inner humility of the believer. When a woman wears the hijab with conviction, she carries a spiritual message that her loyalty is first to God, not to the changing fashions of the world. This is where the hijab transcends culture and becomes a timeless expression of faith. In modern society, where morality is often conflated with freedom, the hijab provides a moral compass. It reminds humanity that true freedom is not in revealing everything, but in mastering the self. The woman who wears the hijab out of fear and love of God is not weak or oppressed. She is courageous. She challenges the superficial ideals of beauty and asserts her right to be valued for her mind, heart, and virtue. Her hijab is her armor of faith in a world that constantly tests her values. There is a powerful beauty in the hijab, a beauty that is not for the world to consume, but for the soul to preserve. It draws a sacred boundary between respect and temptation, between virtue and vanity. A woman who wears it understands that her honor is not negotiable, her modesty is not a burden, and her faith is not for display. It is the unseen strength that radiates through her presence. Under the light of faith and the fear of God, the hijab becomes an act of worship, a silent prayer woven in fabric. Each time she covers herself, she remembers her accountability before her Creator. She remembers that life is short and that every action in this world echoes in eternity. The fear of God disciplines her heart, keeps her from arrogance, and gives her peace that no worldly validation can offer. In truth, hijab is not a denial of modernity, it is a purification of it. It allows a woman to engage with the world while protecting her inner sanctity. She can study, work, lead, and achieve, all while carrying her identity as a believer. The hijab reminds society that modernity without morality leads to decay, and that progress without spiritual discipline is hollow. When a woman wears a hijab proudly, she becomes a living emblem of faith in a world struggling with moral confusion. She reminds others that modesty is not outdated, it is divine. She becomes a beacon of light in a culture that glorifies darkness, a symbol of strength where others see submission. Her hijab speaks without words, saying, "I belong to my Creator first." Let the world understand, the hijab is not a barrier. It is a bridge between worldly life and divine guidance. It connects the seen and the unseen, the external and the eternal. It is a gift from God, a protection, and a source of empowerment through faith. So, to every woman who wears the hijab, wear it with pride, with faith, and with the fear of God in your heart. For your hijab is not just fabric. It is your crown of honor, your declaration of submission, your shield of purity, and your statement of love for your Creator. And to the world that misunderstands it, know this: the hijab is not about oppression. It is about obedience, identity, and sacred dignity. It is the voice of modesty speaking louder than the noise of modern culture. It is faith woven into fabric, courage draped in humility, and devotion reflected through every fold. In the age of confusion, may the hijab remain a symbol of faith, fear of God, and eternal grace, a reminder that true beauty lies not in exposure, but in preservation, not in defiance, but in devotion, and not in rebellion, but in reverence.